and government buildings, outdoor spaces are still permitted to smoke. And as the government who sees beyond, we will be acting upon the following mechanisms for the debate, which are smokers are prohibited to smoke in a 20-meter radius from any public space or anybody in that matter. And fines and penalties will be given if smokers are caught if they are caught smoking in public spaces. All right, with all that said, let me move on to my argument. Let's begin with the economic aspect of this issue. Smoking in public spaces imposes an undeniable burden on our economy. First off, when people smoke in establishment, it drives away customers. And like for example, if you're smoking at a restaurant, right, and you're the one who's eating there, would you want to stay there or get up and leave, right? And smoking in public spaces leads to maintenance and cleaning for the establishment. But we all know smoking is dirty and you need money to clean such places, right? So the money that is being used to clean these such spaces can be used for other aspects, right? Moreover, it places a financial burden on local government, which must gather resources to clean up cigarette litter and maintain smoke-free zones. By banning public spaces, we can boost our economy and create a healthier and more attractive environment for our residents and tourists. Right now, and as well as that, we are addressing the overwhelming healthcare and costs with smoking. Right. What do you mean by this? Right. Smoking can lead to various diseases such as lung cancer. And what are we doing? We hospitals are using so much of their money, right, billions even, to alleviate and prevent these diseases and even cure the smokers, right? So the money that is being used to cure these smokers would be used in other aspects, right? And as well as this, smoking is an expensive habit, right? The most immediate financial impact is the money spent on purchasing cigarettes. The cost of a packet of cigarettes widely varies by location and brand, but it adds up over time. So you buy one cigarette today, and it doesn't matter. But you buy one pack every day for a year. Think of how much that would cost, right? And as well as that, smoking-related illnesses can lead to substantial healthcare costs, like I said, right? Smoking is a known risk factor for various health conditions, including lung cancer, heart disease, respiratory problems, and more. And individuals who smoke are more likely to require medical treatment. And my second speaker will elaborate on this further. With all that said, we as the opposition we as the government stand with the motion. This house would ban smoking in public spaces. Right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the speech. Now we will hear from the leader of the opposition. Wait a minute. Leader of the opposition, are you ready?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Let me make sure. Okay. All right. Okay. Wait. All right. I'd like to start my speech now. Good evening to the judge and ladies and gentlemen and the honorable judge and the moderator. Right. Me as this house, we defend. Oh no, sorry. We do not support the ban of smoking in public spaces. And the question arises when the first speaker, the Prime Minister said, and I would like to repeat all of his points. And first off, he said that smoking, banning smokes will reduce littering. My question is, I see more, the question is, how much of litters do you see by smoking? Example, as smoking cigarette butts, how much do you see compared to plastics? I state that the plastic pollutions are way more increasing in our countries in public places than cigarette butts. I state that. So would that mean, would you be banning plastic uses in our country as a whole, or would you just keep on going because it's just plastic and it's being used everywhere? Second, I would like to rebut on the healthcare and cost. Previously, the government, the Prime Minister said that the healthcare and the cost of treating the patients of smoke-related diseases are increasing. And he also said those costs could be used for later.
POI, please.
Later, sorry, I'll have to finish my point first. As you said, the healthcare and costs would increase to treat those patients with smoking-related diseases such as lung cancer. But he never tried to explain in what terms or what aspects it will be used in using it, which makes it very unclear on how it will be used. And third, I would like to also talk about the increasing price, as the Prime Minister stated, that smoking is a very expensive habit or a hobby, to be honest, which way you take it. And I want to also precise on that this would also increase as when you start banning smoking in public spaces. This is how we do. And I would like to provide my first argument of today's motion would be banning cigarettes in public spaces would increase the black market's activity. We already know the black market's activities are already pretty developed and are increasing in a normal ways. And when you propose a ban on smoking in public spaces, this will even more increase the activity in the black market, especially in tobacco products. For an example, in the law, one of the amendments that the Prime Minister stated, the Control of Tobacco Product Amendment Regulations 2018, it stated that we're not allowed to smoke in restaurant and eateries. And according to another amendment, which is made on Control of Tobacco Products Regulation on 2004, it has only stated that you're not allowed to smoke in indoor air conditioner and spaces without proper air circulation. This means that it is not wrong that we should allow smokers to smoke in public space, as public means it is available to use by anybody in this country, right? That's what I understand from the word term public, as you explained by the Prime Minister. And coming back to my argument in black market, I'd say that we all know that tobacco has a role in our country's economy or GDP. For example, our country's tobacco products almost calculate about to five or $3 billion of revenue in tax. This not only increases the country's economy, but also gives another support, which we already know that our country is in loads of debt, and this will help to decrease it. By proposing a ban on smoking, this will not only decrease the tax, this will only decrease the products or the selling of cigarette tobacco products, but also decrease the tax revenue that you're getting from it. Thus, this will lead to a loss in the economy and will affect our debts and will also increase our debts. Going furthermore, I say that we all know that smoking, as previously the Prime Minister stated that the cigarettes prices are increasing. The increase of prices is because of the tax exemptions that we get from cigarette products. If you ban it and the black market rises, the cost of cigarettes will be even less in black market, since there is no tax and the cigarettes will only cost, for now, according to statistics by the Edge Malaysia, illegal cigarettes only cost from 3 to 6 ringgit in black markets, while it costs RM 20 ringgit in normal shops. I mean by illegal cigarettes. So it's clear that by banning the cigarettes or the banning of smoking will also increase the increase in black market. And this is just for tobacco products. We have not talked about vaping or e-cigarette products, as the Prime Minister mentioned also in his speech that e-cigarettes are also part of smoking in this motion. So to talk about e-cigarettes, as we all know that e-cigarettes are becoming a prevalent issue among teenagers, especially teenagers. And we all know that these e-cigarettes do not have a proper law or amendment like cigarette does, where they do have regulations they have to follow and compile and follow through. I'm sorry. But for e-cigarettes, there is no such proper rules or stated for e-cigarettes. Thus, there are unregulated products of vaping that are increasing. And if you ban smoking in public areas, as I previously said, goes for same for tobacco products, this will increase the products or unregulated e-cigarette products more in the black market, which will be more accessible to
POI?
children later. I'm going to finish my point first. And by doing this, this will not only destroy the economy, but also increase, as I previously mentioned, the increase in black market, but not only in tobacco products, but also e-cigarettes products, which I find even more horrifying than the smoking and smoking in public spaces or the effects caused by it. And that's all, and I would like to finish my speech right here. Thank you.
Thank you for the wise speech, leader of opposition. Now we will move on to the Deputy Prime Minister. Are you ready, Deputy Prime Minister?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good day, Mr. Chair, worthy members of the opposition, and members of the floor. Today, we are discussing on the motion that this house would ban smoking in public spaces. Well, before I proceed with my points, I would like to rebut some of the irrelevant points performed by the leader of opposition. Well, first of all, you say that the plastic trash is way more than the cigarette litter. I have research here from the National Library of Medicine. It stated that in 2021, the report estimates that 9.7 billion cigarette butts are littered in the United States each year. And also it has studies estimate that smokers litter as many as 65% of their cigarette butts. And this can show that the smoke litter is also in a huge number. And if you still say that the smoke litter is not really more than the plastic, then I would like to ask you, what if you okay, it's just an example. If you eat a chocolate ice cream and it melts and
stains your shirt.
It stain your shirt, it's just like a drop. Would you just maintain with it and go away, or you would like to eliminate it or to wipe out it? It's just the same thing, okay? Now, also, the leader of the opposition say about the black market, right? It will increase in the black market. But we are saying that we are banning the smoking in public spaces. Means that the smoker can still smoke, but in a private space. And they can still buy it to smoke. We just ban it in the public spaces. Okay. And also you say about the tax. Think relevantly, is the human's health important than the money, or is the money important than the human health? Right. Okay. Now I will proceed with my points. The first keyword of my point is the health of the smoker. Well, there are a lot of studies. I will perform one by one. The first one, study from the Washington website. The study stated that more than 200,000 people found 67 in the study of 200,000 people. It is found that 67% of the smoker perished from smoking-related illness. Means by smoking, there are lots of people that die, and also not only that, for the male who smoke, it will increase the risk of erectile dysfunction and affect the quality of the sperm and reduce the fertility. And this will cause a decrease in the population. For the women that smoke, the tobacco inside the smoke will affect the hormone level, and they will be more difficult to be pregnant. And for the pregnant woman who smoke, it will lead to a very huge impact to the fetus, which the fetus will born with with low weight. Okay. Now move on to the second point about the effect of the passive smoker. First of all, passive smoker means breathing in other people's tobacco smoke, and there are a lot of research that's showing that passive smoker gets a lot of negative impact. Well, for example, when there are pregnant women that smoke in the smokes from the other smoker, this will affect the unborn baby, and also for the children that inhale in the smoke, it will cause the poor lung development, which is the lungs will never grow to the full potential, and also asthma, bacterial meningitis, and respiratory infections. And there are studies show that among passive smokers, 62.6% were exposed to cigarette smoke more than 6 days per week. So you can say that sometimes we are not really, we are not purposely wanting to smoke in the others' smoke, right? But when we go to public spaces, we can't control others. So if we enforce this law, we can control the people that smoke in public spaces. It will reduce the risk of towards the passive smoker in some lung cancer or other respiratory diseases. And also, there are studies show that 30 minutes of exposure to secondhand smoke can affect how the blood vessels regulate blood flow to a similar degree seen in people who smoke. So at this level, means that the passive smoker can easily been affected by the smoker who smoke in the public area, although they are not smoking, but they are getting the effect from the smoker. So I think that's all from me. Let me reaffirm our motion today. This House would ban smoking in public spaces, and I, as the Deputy Prime Minister of the government, I strongly agree with this motion, and this motion should stand and only stand. Thank you.
Thank you for the thoughtful speech. And now we will hear the speech of the Deputy Leader of Opposition. You will have 7 minutes to present your case.
The timer started.
Okay, if you're gonna start, you can just start. I will just start the time.
I'll start now. Good day. A couple of things that I will be doing in this speech. Firstly, just some quick refutation of the government case material. Secondly, rebuilding some of the argument. And finally, I'll be introducing two of my arguments in addition to my first speaker. Firstly, I would like to rebut some of the arguments proposed by the deputy speaker, second speaker from the government house. They stated the statistics that cigarette butts do play a big role in litter in London, if I'm not mistaken. But the question that was asked by my side is if plastic waste is more than cigarette butts. They failed to prove that point. Secondly, um, the question that was given by the deputy speaker, if we would prefer to wipe the ice cream drop from our t-shirt, we would, but does wiping it out totally help us? In this case,
Why this?
really help us later? Does banning really help us to later? Does banning really help the government, a country, especially the society and the smoker? And another thing is that is human health important or is money important? Are the government house going to be surprised if I propose my first argument, which is um, nicotine actually helps in mental health issues faced by the smokers? One minute. Based on the studies, um, based on an article released by Psychiatry Online org, some studies have found that patients with schizophrenia who smoke have fewer Parkinson's symptoms, which suggests that smoking has a protective effect on dopamine system. This is not a point that we are coming up with our own idea. This is actually covered and backed up by studies that have been conducted by smokers that have mental illness. The subjective calming effect of nicotine is also thought to be particularly reinforcing for persons with psychiatric illness. It has been suggested that smoking reduces social inhibition and isolation, and that it may provide an outlet for the expression of dependency needs among persons with schizophrenia and also other mental illness. So in this case, if we totally ban smoking, it will only increase the mental illness caused by
UI?
smokers.
But you said that UI.
Continuing, increases the amount of people who face mental illness in a daily basis, which is already happening in our country. My next argument will be that banning smoking in public spaces would risk civil liberties. Smokers and the groups who advocate on their behalf argue that their habit is a civil right even if it kills the smoker. And according to a report published in 2019, the smokers group Forest argued that smokers are the canaries for civil liberties. It added that the call of a ban directly violates the harm principle that assumes a person has autonomy over their own life and body as long as they do not hurt other people, also known as the passive smokers. Moreover, some claim that prohibiting smoking is an example of excessive government involvement in people's life, resulting in a nanny state where the government makes decisions on behalf of people rather than letting them make their own judgment, even if those are detrimental. So in this case, I feel like smokers are also human. They are public as they are known as public. They deserve to make their own decision, and banning smoking will directly affect them. Some of them who are facing mental illness, as I proved just now that from my statistics that it does help, even though it's an ugly truth, we do have to admit that it does help people who face mental illness. And just now, the government house stated that passive smokers face more harm than smokers themselves. But my question is that there are places that are permitted for smokers to smoke, such as outdoor pubs, clubs. So why would if passive smokers are so concerned about becoming a passive smoker, why would they make themselves a victim to that situation? Especially when the deputy speaker said that pregnant women face more concerns. Like, why would they want to make themselves a victim to that situation? And do really pregnant women make themselves like go
POI.
victim to this kind of situation? And by that, I like to restate my motion, which is we do not support the banning of smoking in public spaces. With that, I rest my case. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the insightful speech. We will now welcome the government whip to speak. You will have 7 minutes as well. Please continue.
Am I audible, ladies and gentlemen?
Loud and clear, bro.
Okay. I will start my speech in 3, 2, and 1. A warm good evening I wish to Mr. Speaker, timekeeper, judges with overflowing wisdom. Thank you for letting me, as the third speaker from the government, to propose a motion on this elegant day. Today, extremely important motion to be debated, which is this house would ban smoking in public spaces. And we, as the government, strongly support this motion. And as our stance, we already showed you our mechanism, which is we are banning smoking from public spaces and 20-meter radius from any public spaces. And as alternative to overcome any issues by banning smoking in public spaces, we already introduced nicotine gum. And before reinforcing my team's case line, allow me to rebut all these irrelevant points that doesn't make any sense that was given and proposed by the opposition just now. First of all, let me start with the deputy leader of opposition. She said that nicotine helps mental issues of smoker. Yes, and we do not disagree with it, and that is the reason why we suggested nicotine gum in the first place. But let me show her statistic that she was so interested in. There is nicotine in cigarettes that help mental issue of smokers, but do you know nicotine is not only substance that we can find in cigarettes. Do you want to know the contents of cigarettes? Nicotine, tar, toluene, butane, carbon monoxide, arsenic, arclanotril, polonium-210, ammonia, lead, acetone, polonium. Simply, it's 11 versus 1, ladies and gentlemen. If you say nicotine can help mentally, but all these other 11 can kill them physically. And you might say, since there is nicotine in cigarette, it will help them to relax or etc. If indeed you are very much correct about it, the smokers will very soon relax for eternity in the coffin. And moving on, she also stated about banning cigarettes totally. But ladies and gentlemen, let me reaffirm, we are not banning totally. We know the consequences. We are only banning from public spaces. You can smoke in your house, we are not banning your so-called fundamental human rights. We are only banning from public spaces. And also, she said, people, especially smokers, deserve to make their own decision. We are not disagreeing to it, but if they are only, if all can make their own decision, and if that affects others, then what is the function of law? What is the function of constitution in our country? And she said a silly point where why passive smoker actually being a passive smoker in the first place. For example, why a pregnant woman being a victim to this case. Let me give you a brief example. In a family, if the husband is a smoker and the wife is wife automatically being a passive smoker, what are you going to do? Simply divorce him because you don't want to be a victim of this issue? Gets your mind straight, Deputy Leader of Opposition. And moving on with the Leader of Opposition, he simply evaded 2 POI because he doesn't have the courage to engage with the government in this debate. And he also compared plastic pollution with cigarette butts. The question, and he also asked us the question, will you ban plastic then? Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about cigarettes. If you are comparing cigarettes to plastic, are you trying to say that plastic and cigarettes has the same amount of effect on our health? No, ladies and gentlemen. Plastic is a thing that we use which doesn't bring any harm in a short-term effect, but smoking can simply kill you. And he said passive smoking can be prevented by air circulation and etc. But Richard Edwards, senior lecturer in public health at the University of Manchester, has said that this evidence is that these approaches do not work and do not protect against passive smoking. And he said installing ventilation and having smoke-free zones were almost pointless. Can't you see, ladies and gentlemen? And he also said tobacco has high economic revenue, and yeah, we know and we are aware about it, but all this revenue, all these 4 billion, 5 billion, 10 billion, etc., I don't care. All these are only used to cure smokers and their diseases, not used to build a better country. We are not using all this revenue to build Malaysia. That is baseless and pointless. We are using this revenue to cure people who really need it and people who are totally a victim of smoking. And he said, increases of e-cigarettes in black market. But ladies and gentlemen, just simply you are afraid of black market, are you trying to say we have to make people we should oppose this motion just because we are afraid of black market? And now allow me to reaffirm my case. Our Prime Minister has stated that banning smoking in public space will directly issue in the economy, because we would lose revenue from taxes, but the question is, who cares? All tax revenues is actually used to cure smokers by creating more rehabilitation centers. And if you have zero smokers and also zero tax revenue, we don't even need that money. In fact, we would do better. This we that I just mentioned is the public. How, you may ask? When the amount of public smoker decreases, the amount of their money increases, as they are not wasting money on this life-killing animal. Not only increasing their economy, this helps them from being economically stable. And moving on, my Deputy Prime Minister has said health of smoker, and people think smoking only causes cancer, and since that, but the highest death rate in Malaysia is caused by heart attack. They don't understand the depth of this issue. But actually, this heart attack is also caused by smoking. This is the hidden truth that public do not know. And before I end my case, I want to reaffirm that we, the government, have proved why this motion should be accepted, as we already produced mechanism, which is nicotine gum and banning 20 meters from any public spaces. And we already showed you how this case stands. And this motion today, which is this house would ban smoking from public spaces, should be accepted for the greater good. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. With that, I rest my case.
Okay, thank you for the encouraging speech. We will now hear the speech from the opposition whip. You have 7 minutes.
First of all, I would like to rebut whatever that was rebutted from the third speaker from the government house. I would like to point out whatever that they failed to explain. First of all, they failed to provide why the amendments that are already placed are not effective, especially in eateries. Secondly, I do agree that nicotine is not not the only substance that is in cigarettes are used to make cigarettes, but the smoke from combustible tobacco products contain more than 7,000 chemicals, and nicotine is the primary reinforcing component. So what was proven by my house is acceptable, especially with our point proven, which was nicotine helps. Psychiatrists themselves use nicotine as a calming agent for smokers with mental illness. Secondly, they rebutted against our black market point. In this case, I would like to say that once once smoking is banned, smokers who are addicted to smoking would somehow rather get their hands on cigarettes, no matter going against the law or going into illegal ways, which is black market. So I'd like to say that banning would also affect the economy as tobacco industries play the most major roles in economy these days, especially in our country. Next, I would also like to add that they stated that cigarette butts are more. They stated that they asked us if plastic litter is plastic litter more harmful than cigarette butts. So they're trying to. So you're saying that ruining the environment does not affect humans' health, which does not quite
I,
make sense to me.
please.
If this increases, this doesn't matter if you ban, because the long-term effect is gone there later. And another rebuttal that was brought
Please.
up from third speaker is that they suggested that smokers should go and smoke in their home. So in that case, they know that smoking in their houses would passively affect the people that are in their houses. So it's more like they're supporting our case here. So it's quite funny to see them not stating their own motion. And in this case, my opposition leader talked about the use of black market in getting cigarettes, like and tax revenue. I would like to point out that taxation on smoking raises more than $8.8 per year for the Treasury. Noted from the politics Payers Alliance rejected the argument that smokers also cost the taxman more due to their health burden, arguing that smokers who suffer major health problems are more likely to die per reducing expenditure on state pensions and other age-related benefits. In this case, I would like to reinstate our motion for today from the opposition team, which is we do not support the banning of smoking in public spaces. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your speech. That concludes the main speech of this debate. Okay, now we will move on to the replying speech, where each team will summarize their main argument and rebuttal in 4 minutes. The opposition side may start first. The leader of opposition, are you ready for your replying speech?
Not yet. Can I have 2 more minutes?
He meant leader of opposition, not leader of government.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, inside. Sorry, my camera is inside now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I would like to start my speech in 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So as our house, I would like to mention again what our house believes. Our house believes that banning publics, we do not support the ban of smoking in public spaces. As we previously mentioned, all our arguments, and my first argument was banning of smoking in public spaces would increase, would not decrease the act of smoking, but instead it increases, but in a way that is not legal or profitable or beneficial to the country as a long term. And they rebutted that black markets are not important, as to be honest, they said it was a irrelevant point. I would like to state that again, that I found a weakness in their point, which is they do not understand the basic effect of black markets. The black market is not just a basic normal market where it is just basically products without taxes. It's another whole wide world where it's an underworld where there's no government, there's no rules, there's nothing. As previously said, you could have unregulated products which would affect one's or public's life even worse than having regulated cigarette products or being sold at higher prices. This would, in fact, I'll promise this will, in fact, or affect, sorry, not in fact, affect one's life or one's image in the country and health. This will not only prevail the health benefits that banning smoking in public spaces would, instead it will increase those causes. It will increase more health problems in the public. Next up, our second point was that banning smoking in public spaces would decrease the rights of one's to act out on his own wish. Yes, and the house completely agrees on it. As your motion was to ban smoking in public spaces, as the definition public states, public means it is open for anybody who is human. Actually, it doesn't matter what you can do. And for an example, like you said, that banning in public places, I'd like to remind you again the amendments of 2018, where the government has already banned smoking and the act of smoking in eateries. And I find that you guys have failed to provide why that ban has not worked effectively. People are still smoking on the sides of eateries. Doesn't matter 200 radius, they would smoke right in front of the food, and people would not care. And it is still happening, and news are still coming up that smokers are still smoking. And so, why is there no action? Why is there no any advantages, or why is there no any action in order, or the benefits that you're supposed to see when you do an amendment like this? Where is the benefits of banning smoking in public spaces? And coming back to my point, our point stated that we have rights. And I'm not saying that smoking in public eateries is a good thing. I actually, in fact, support that we should not smoke in public and eateries. But then public spaces such as parks or parks or open spaces with proper air circulation could be allowed, since there is open spaces and it is public. Anybody could access it, and it has proper airflow in order for passive smokers to avoid the secondary effects of smoking. Next up, our third point was how nicotine would, how does banning smoking in public places would actually make one suffer, or actually makes it one so harder. Leave the desire to smoke. And I agree that nicotine products are harder to use, but instead it would not be a proper solution to ban it completely than having a proper steps. And that's all my house will conclude. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you for your speech. Thank you for your speech. Now we'll move on to the replying speech. Now let's welcome the government side to deliver their replying speech, and the time starts once you're ready.
Right. Hello? Am I audible?
Yes.
Right. So let me start my reply speech in 3, 2, 1. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chair and respected opponent, I stand before you to oppose the motion today. This House would ban uh, I stand before you today to support the motion today. This stand would ban smoking from places. While we acknowledge the constraints that are raised by the opposition, we firmly believe that banning smoking in public spaces is the most effective approach. We have presented compelling arguments that are irrefutable, and the health effects on both smokers and passive smokers will be greatly will be greatly benefited. Right. So now let me address some of the points that have been given by the opposition. First of all, the Prime Minister of the opposition said that banning smoking in public spaces would lead to increase in black market activity. But the increase in black market activity would only increase if we ban smoking as a whole. But that's not the motion today. We are banning smoking in public spaces, not smoking as a whole. And as well as that, your second speaker said that nicotine and nicotine found in cigarettes would help with mental health. However, yes, we do recognize the benefits of this. However, the health risks of smoking outweighs the mental health of nicotine by tenfold, right? We can explore alternative ways, such as what my third speaker has said, nicotine gum, right? And the last point that you have given is fundamental human rights. Yes, it's crucial that we have our rights, but so do others, right? You are smoking next to someone who is not a smoker, like you're smoking next to a passive smoker. Do you think they want to inhale the toxic gases that are coming out of your mouth? No, right? So it's their fundamental right as well. As well as that, you have failed to give us any POIs. This debate is about engage. We should engage with each other. Even we have given POIs, but you have refused to accept it. You kept on saying later, later, later. But when? You haven't accepted anything. All right. Okay. And your second speaker, I mean, has obviously or is obviously opening website. Come on, let's be real. And right now, let me move on to my case. Let me move on to strengthening my case. Now, economic complications. Our case regarding economic complications is very solid and irrefutable. Smoking related healthcare costs and reduced workspace productivity are significant financial burdens on society. These costs not only affect the economy, but it also impact everyone. Like I said, there's a lot of money are being used on healthcare of the smokers. The money from this can contribute to other aspects such as education, right? Education and just the overall well-being of our community. And then my second speaker's point, effects on smokers and passive smokers. Our arguments regarding health effects are on both smokers and passive smokers remain unchanged. Smoking in public spaces expose non-smokers to harmful secondhand smoke. We cannot ignore this, and by going with the motion, we can solve this very horrible issue. Right. So allow me to end this. So in conclusion, we urge you, Mr. Judge, to consider the overwhelming evidence supporting the ban on smoking in public places for the greater good of society. The economic complications and health effects on smokers and passive smokers make it important that we prioritize public health today. And with that, I move to a close. Thank you.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you to everyone for presenting and making this debate session a success. That concludes today's debate session on okay on this house would ban smoking in public spaces. I would like to thank both teams for their excellent performance today. Now let's give some time for the judge to calculate overall marks and announce the winner for today's debate. Okay, let's invite our panel of judges to announce the decision and give some feedback on this debate.
Right, assalamualaikum and a very good evening to everyone. Congrats for finishing the second round of the debate today. Congrats for both teams for completing the task for completing the debate. So today's motion is this house would ban smoking in public spaces, right? So first of all, I'm not going to state who's gonna win this debate yet, but I'm going to comment on you guys' performance, which is first of all, to be a good debater, please listen and please understand well what your opponent are talking about, what your opponent are delivering. Okay. So the opposition side, please take note and listen carefully what your opponent team are saying. Listen carefully their definition, which is today's motion is this house would ban smoking in public spaces. But then what are you delivered just now is as if the government side trying to say that they are banning smoking at all cost. Okay, so what you guys need to do is actually you guys need to understand the motion first. And second of all, for the government side, you should state properly your mechanism. Your mechanism is there, but then please elaborate more so that your opposition side can understand you well and know what the things that you're going to debate about. Other than that, please not read your point. I mean, like read it from the website or things. I mean, you can do that, but still, you need to have a flow of speech that is like you talk what you want to say, not you read what you want to say. All right. And then POI, points of information. Please engage. Engagement in debate is important so that both team can understand each other better. So whenever the team asks for POI, at least accept one POI, at least. Okay? Accepting POI is important for you to engage with your opponent team. All right? And then as well as to start your speech with flow. Okay, flow of debate is very important so that everyone, the audience, can understand you well. And then your stance is also important so that your audience, your opponent, your judge, and everyone can understand why are you supporting or why are you opposing the motions. All right. So without taking more time, I would like to announce today's motion, which is this House would ban smoking in public places accepted, which is government's team win this motion. And the best speaker is Anba, which is third speaker from government side. And the margin is 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Judge and YDP, and also our opponent. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
congratulations. And also congratulations to Abu Bakar School, which is the government for today's debate, for winning this debate. And also well done to the Marauders, which is from the opposition, from the opposition side, for putting up a good fight actually. But you guys actually give a good fight. Okay. That marks the end of our session. Thank you for your attentiveness and attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Shamin.
Yes.
I just want to ask, like, how bad was it?
Okay, I will do Google link, then we'll talk there.
Okay, today.
Yeah, no, I will do it right now.
All right, nice. Bye.
Okay.
Should we go back to the breakout room? Oh yeah, I think so.
Hey, somebody asked the question, is it just now?
Yeah, they asked, should they just like leave the meeting or we should go to the main?
Main room first, right?
Yeah, we go for the main room first.
Okay. Cover a bit for someone, we'll finish. We'll see at the main session.
Yeah.